Let's get into the news.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. North and South American. All the ships and clippers at sea. Let's go to press. Fly.
Good amount of news this week. Let's get right into it. Carnegie is a board game that I am quite excited about. It comes from the designer Xavier Georges, the author of Carson City and Ginkgopolis, and one of the other designers of Black Angel and Trois. I'm a big fan of Xavier Georges. The artwork is by Ian O'Toole. This looks like classic fare from the two of them. It looks gorgeous and heavy. And it is coming to Kickstarter on November 25th. And I guarantee I will be there backing it instantly without knowing much about the game. But if you combine Xavier Georges and Ian O'Toole and tell me it's a heavy Euro game, I'm there. So very exciting.
I love the fact that, these designers and these artists can amass and maintain such an amazing street cred and rep that their fans will just show up when they come out with something new. I think that's brilliant. I love seeing that in film, but I love seeing it anywhere, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are definitely designers that at this point now, like if I know that they are designing a game, I have a pretty good idea what it's going to feel like. I mean, some more than others. Like I know exactly what an Uwe Rosenberg game is going to feel like for the most part.
Right.
Xavier's definitely had some different stuff going on, so he's a little more it's a little more of like, I'm definitely interested to see where he's going with it. But yeah, for sure. Like much like an author or a designer, or a director, at a certain point, if I've loved 2 or 3 of your games, I'm just going to keep buying your games unless you start putting out a couple that I really don't like in a row.
I love that. That really appeals to me. Just that whole notion appeals to me across the board, but also in games specifically. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great time to be in our hobby. So yeah, November 25th on Kickstarter. Look for it there. We're going to actually cover a good amount of sort of casual games today, which was not on purpose, but there's a lot of casual game news happening right now. I have a potential good family game recommendation for all of you for the holidays coming up. If you are safely celebrating with your family and looking for a fun game, Rise of Augustus was a game that I enjoyed as a casual game. It's basically bingo. It's bingo. Okay. It's just bingo.
All right.
But bingo with some rules. It's somebody who said, people like these Euro board games. What is the Euro version of bingo? And basically, it's like you have these different objectives you're trying to fulfill, and somebody's pulling chits from a bag, and they pull a chit, and everybody at the table gets to spend that chit on one thing, but you're basically just ticking boxes like a bingo thing, except it's like I need 3 wheat and 1 stone, and I really hope he pulls a stone so I can complete this contract. But when you complete them, they give you powers. So now every time someone pulls a stone, it's worth 2 stone for you. The most simple version of it, things like that. So as the game going on, you're getting more powerful, and when the people are pulling the bingo chits, it's making these cool combos for you. But somebody has put out an even simpler version of Rise of Augustus. It is actually a reimplementation of it, just with a little fewer rules and a new sort of fantasy theme. The game is called Via Magica, Magica. It is coming out. It is out now. The designer is Paolo Mori, who did a game that I quite like called Ethnos. He also did Libertalia. He's a fantastic designer. But this is a reimplementation of Rise of Augustus with a little bit less rules, a much smaller box. That was a big old box Rise of Augustus was in before. This is travel size, a small little box. It's basically Euro bingo with fantasy theme. And I felt it was worth shouting on our podcast because this is that time of year when people need good games. You could literally, I think you could play this with a 6-year-old. You could play this with a 90-year-old. This is a game that if you can play bingo, you can handle this. And it even has a few less rules than Rise of Augustus. So it's even more just like, boom, you can teach this to anybody. And who doesn't like bingo? I don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't.
I have nothing bad to say about bingo.
Look, man, it's a good way to spend time. Also in the casual side of the world, the 9th edition of Wiz War has been announced. This one from Steve Jackson Games. Fantasy Flight Games had the license to it for a while. I guess Steve Jackson has taken it back. Eric Martin from BGG tells us that Steve Jackson Games hasn't yet revealed how this edition will differ from others. Instead, noting that it plans to run a Kickstarter to fund this release and that it's doing all the tooling with the manufacturer beforehand to ensure smoother fulfillment, barring all the usual complications for such things. So yeah, we don't know much other than we know we're going to get a new edition of WizWar, which is called WizWar Kill Them with Fire. I enjoy WizWar. It is, just chaos in a box. Originally from the designers of Dune and Cosmic Encounter, I believe. And it's just, it's a classic chaos bomb. So yeah, new edition of that coming out. Always worth checking out WizWar if you like a good chaos bomb. A new Rainier Knizia game is being reprinted. Well, an old game is being reprinted. Gamelin Games is reprinting the 2002 Knizia game called Dragonland, which also looks to be more on the lighter side of Knizia's spectrum. Also worth looking into if you are a fan of lighter games or fantasy themes or Rainer Knizia. That is coming sometime next year. We don't have too much information on it yet, but always worth shouting out a reprint of a hard-to-get Rainer Knizia game. And Jake, guess what?
Yeah, what's that?
I know we didn't finish The Crew. We got halfway through, but the standalone sequel to The Crew has been announced, coming out on March 1st, 2020. The German title is called Die Crew Mission TFC. I don't know what that means. I probably could have Googled it, but I'll tell you this. This time it's on Earth, Jake, and we're going underwater. We are exploring the depths of the sea. We once explored the skies and the unknown, the final frontier, but now we are going down below to the land.
Bringing it home.
Of James Cameron in the abyss. Look, it's just 50 more missions and of an awesome game. Why wouldn't you want it? I didn't even finish it, and already I'm like, yes, give me more of the thing that I want more of. So yeah, the sequel to The Crew. It's on Earth. It's underwater. They haven't told us anything other than more missions, more of the same, more goodness. How many ideas do you think they can think of with just that? 4 suits numbered 1 to 9. I mean,
quite
at some
few.
point. Yeah,
quite a few. I think they could keep churning them out for a while.
Let's leave the land of the casual and enter the land of the very, very heavy. The land that I love to dwell in. Capstone Games has announced Coffee Traders. Coffee Traders is a 3 to 5 player game averaging around 120 minutes. And we have been told it has a weight of around 4.0. I believe one of the designers, or at least developers, stated so on BGG. This is a heavy sucker, and it is from the designers of a game called Wildcatters, which I quite enjoyed, which is also a very heavy Capstone Games game. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I believe Spielworks did the first edition. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it is heavy Euro. This is their second game. It's been quite a long time since then, so I imagine they put quite a lot of work into this. And it takes place in a really unusual theme, which is 1970, the dawn of a new era. The future of coffee farming is bright. A game about coffee farming in 1970. Jake, I know that is a particular era that you're very interested in, coffee farming in the 70s. You have your PhD. Well, I
did my dissertation on coffee farming in the 70s. So,
but do you know somebody who will be instantly excited about this? Can you tell me who that person would be?
Someone who likes coffee from the 70s.
Alfred Darlington is a coffee obsessive and a coffee expert. Did you know Alfred actually judges coffee tasting competitions?
Yeah. You know what? I did. I had forgotten that amazing detail of his ability.
I mean, I would even say that coffee is his main hobby, and board gaming might be his second hobby. I mean, well, yes, hobby. I mean, music is not his hobby; it's his profession. So yeah. I mean, he loves coffee, but now we're combining his two favorite things. He loves heavy Euros, and he loves coffee. Alfred, get excited for Coffee Traders. I'm very excited. We don't know much. We know it's coming next year. They haven't even told us. Oh, sorry. Pre-orders open on Capstone's game Tuesday, December 1st. We don't have a price yet. We don't know much else, but it's worth checking out Wildcatters to see what a wonderful heavy game that is, and I can only imagine how wonderful and heavy Coffee Traders will be. And Capstone Games putting it out gives me a fair amount of confidence that I'm going to like it.
Makes me thirsty.
Sure, or at least
Just
tired
thinking about
and want caffeine. This is a really exciting thing. I just heard about this yesterday. It was just announced the day before we recorded this podcast, and I think it is a fantastic idea, and I'm so happy this exists. The Zenobia Award has been announced. Let me read you about this. Dan Thurot, one of my favorite writers in the hobby, I believe is credited for writing this description. There's a huge amount of influential and wonderful people from our hobby who put this together, and it is the Zenobia Award. Historical board games are enjoyed by people from all walks of life, but their designers are predominantly white men. The Zenobia Award hopes to change this by encouraging game submissions by people from marginalized groups. The Zenobia Award is not an ordinary design award, promising applicants will receive mentorship on their designs from established industry designers, and the winners will receive help navigating the game publication process, in addition to a cash prize. Are you underrepresented in the hobby, love board games and history, and want to see more historical games? Come design with us. So if you go to Zenobia, Zenobia award.org, you can get all the information you need on how to submit your game design for the Zenobia Award, which I think is exactly what our hobby needs. We definitely have way too many predominantly white men as designers in our hobby, especially in the historical and war game world, which I think is sort of what we're getting towards here. The Pax Pamir artwork background of this website lets me know that they are definitely focused on the historical and war game side of the hobby. And we definitely need more underrepresented people and time periods and cultures represented well in our hobbies. I don't want to see people fighting over land in the Mediterranean ever again, if possible. So go to the Zenobia Award website, zenobiaaward.org. Submissions must be received by January 15th, 2021. If you fit their criteria for submitting, you can check out all about that there. But yeah, I think this is exciting, and the long list of exciting names involved in this is like, reads as a who's who of influential board game publishers and designers and media people. So happy they did this. I think that's fantastic. Moving on, just a few things left. Fantasy Flight Games has lost the right to the Star Wars miniatures. That includes X-Wing, and it includes Legion, and includes Armada. I don't know how that happened, but they somehow lost their rights to printing pieces of plastic shaped like Darth Vader. And instead, Atomic Mass Games is going to be taking it over. We don't yet know exactly what that means, but a lot of the people who are involved in these games with these miniatures are a part of the development team that is taking them over. So it seems like the license is lost, but a lot of the people who were involved in these are involved in Atomic Mass Games and taking this over. So I know a lot of people, their entire hobby is one of those games. So I sure hope your game continues to thrive. Two more pieces left. One of my favorite games of this year so far is Oceans, which is a fantastic engine building game with a really cool theme of, well, things in the ocean. The first expansion has been announced. Legends of the Deep, an expansion to Oceans, will come to Kickstarter mid-2021. And this has a fantasy theme to it, which I did not expect. Now, the original Oceans seemed very scientific almost. It was, all about sort of evolving different fish and, becoming predators. And it was all very much based on our world and the ecosystem of the ocean and science. And now you can be Atlanteans or mermaids or...
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think you sort of, at the beginning of the game, you pick a asymmetrical rule breaking power that you'll have. So I always like anything that adds more asymmetry to my engine builders. And I'll definitely take a look at it. But I can't say that I was expecting to see a fantasy theme come to Oceans. Lastly, we'll end with a casual game here as well. There is a game called Creature Comforts on Kickstarter right now. This is a game designed for children and families, but for children and families where someone in the house likes Euro games, because this is not your typical children's game. It looks a lot like Everdell. It has I'm talking light as a feather gameplay here, but it's worker placement. These are Euro mechanics. The artwork really looks like Everdell. I don't think it's the same artist, but it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. But I love the idea of designing games for children with these mechanics that they can learn at a young age and be comfortable moving up to start playing, more interesting games, at least to the parents, than games like Sorry or Risk or,
absolutely
typical Hasbro affairs.
100% agree.
So yeah, creature comforts. I might even back this myself, even though my kid is a few years away from being able to play this. But yeah, I mean, they say this is, ages 8 and up. But I was reading some things that made it sound like even younger could be playing this. It's quite simple, but absolutely worth checking out if you have a Euro gamer in your family, or a burgeoning Euro gamer, or you want your children to see the wonders of our hobby and start them off right. Creature comforts. That's it for news. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you very well might enjoy the other videos you now see being suggested to you on screen. Also, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, or subscribe to our Game Brain channel. Thanks so much.